Welcome back to another template design walkthrough. This design is called Cluttered. So it's really based off this background, this graphic style of like cluttered sports equipment and things like that. Then I added some of this neon effect in to make what I think is a really cool look for something fun, something a little bit different than what you may be seeing currently. But let's take a look at the layers of what's in here just to give you a basis for how easy this is to customize and set up. So we're starting with our color grading layers as usual. Again, the color grading layers are giving us some contrast, a slight bit of color adjustment just to give it that really polished, finished look at the end. But as always, you could expand this group, and there's a couple different layers in here. You could change your opacities. You could turn these off or on based on your own personal taste and style. All right, below that is our facial highlight boost layers. We'll be taking a look at that in a second, but these are to brighten those highlights on the faces of your subject. Again, just to make sure that your subjects pop and they really are the star of this, design. So we want cool designs, but we want the subjects to be foremost. So that's what those are about. As always, descriptions are in the layer names for what each layer is doing within the design. Below that is some normal text. All right, so here's some secondary text here. Name here, and the name has some effects attached to it. We'll look at customizing those momentarily. Below that, as always, marked in red is our subject group. So this is where the subject's going to go. On this design, this is a double nested group. So if we open one group, you're going to see a secondary group, and within the secondary group is where our subject's going to be placed. Okay, so this is nested like this so we can do two effects. The first on the inside group is this drop shadow that will get applied to our subject, and then above that, this group is actually masked, so it will mask the subject and mask the drop shadow. So that's why we double nest that like that. All right, below that is some more text. So this is our top text that has that neon effect applied to it. So let's keep going down here. This is our bottom circles down here. This darkened circle is just darkening this inner ring right here, but that can be adjusted if you like. It's just a hue saturation adjustment layer with the lightness brought down on it. Below that, we have the inner part of that circle, and by default there is just a texture applied in there, just so it's not just a plain, white circle. But you could turn that off or on. You could definitely change. Right now this circle is set to lighten. You could set that to multiply if you wanted to darken it, or like an overlay or a soft light. If you wanted a little bit different effect, feel free to play around with those layer styles. All right, below that, that's our upper circle, again with that neon effect applied to it via the effects here. And then below this is our background options. We'll open that up in just a second, but clip to the background options. This is our color blocking. So our top color blocking here, again, this is just a solid color fill layer. So you could come in, you could sample a color if you wanted to match it, or you could come through and pick a color, or you could type in your own color there. Same for both of those, just another solid color fill layer. So that'll change the bottom part of that. All right, then if we expand our background options, we have 16 different backgrounds in here, and they're just simply turning on the ones that you want. All right, so simple as that. So let's drop our subject in and turn our subject on here and look at customizing this. So let's open up. I got a subject in here, so we have this cheerleader. I thought this would be kind of fun for this one. So again, you can see it's masked, so if I move our subject around, they're going to get masked. You can see there is a cutoff point down here. You can kind of see it right there. Most of your subjects are just going to be stationary though, so you typically shouldn't have to worry about that cutoff point, because their legs are going to kind of extend down in there, where they need to be. All right, so there's our subject placed in. So the first thing we want to do is turn on the right sport. So we're going to come down here to the background options, and I want to make sure that cheer is turned on to the top. There we go. All right, now I'm just going to start with my background color. So I think I want to make the bottom match the jersey. So there we go. So I'm just basically just sampling a color, making it that easy, just clicking on the color that we want. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this color, Command or Control C, just in case we need that when we set the rest of our colors. And then click OK. Now for the top, since the school colors are kind of like gray and black and orange, I'm just going to leave this gray because I think it works. But again, you could make this, match, any other tone by clicking on it if you wanted to. All right, but I'm going to leave it because it kind of goes with the color theme here. Now we'll just work our way up the stack here, the upper circle. So there's 3 different spots we want to change this color in the effects. All right, and that's going to be for this double kind of neon arc right here. So the first one we want to change is our inner glow. So I'm going to double click on inner glow. It's going to bring us right up to that layer effect. All I'm going to do is click on the color and then Command or Control V to paste that orange in that we sampled. Click OK. Then I'm going to drop down to the outer glow, click the color, paste the color in, click OK. And then the third one is the bottom drop shadow. So this bottom drop shadow, we're going to click the color, paste that in, and that's what's going to give us that kind of glowing effect in behind there. And click OK, and click OK. And there we go. Simple as that to change the colors on these. So this bottom circle, I'm going to do the same thing. Double click on my inner glow, click the color, paste the color in, go down to outer glow, and drop shadow here, and just make those quick updates on that. Now it's going to be the same thing on our text up here, so we can just change this text right here. So this school is the Eagles, so we'll type in the new text. I'm actually going to Command or Control T and make this a little bit bigger, just because I like the look of it kind of running out the edge of the frame there, but feel free to make that however you like it. Alright, and then I'm going to do the same thing, inner glow, click our color, paste the new color in, down to our outer glow, paste, and drop shadow, paste that one in. There we go, we're all matched up on that. So the only thing left is the name down here. Alright, so let's change the name. Alright, so new name is in. Now I'm going to just do the same thing with the colors. So inner glow, paste our matching color in, outer glow, paste it in, drop shadow, paste it in. Easy as that. And then instead of soccer, this is going to be cheer. There we go. That's updated as well. Now if you want that to stand out a little bit, you can always just double click here. Sometimes I'll just add a black stroke line just to make that pop off the background just a little bit more. So yeah, it's simple as that. If you wanted to move the name around, you can just use your move tool, arrow things up and down, whatever looks good to you. And again, this is where I was saying on this inner circle on the background here, if you wanted to change that, that look, make that darker back there, you definitely could do that. Or you could play with any of these other kind of fills or things. You could even just set it to normal and bring the opacity down to create a little transparency type of look. So again, feel free to play around with that. It's pretty fun to just see what kind of different looks you can make with such simple adjustments on these. But the last thing that we need to do here is come up to our facial highlight boost. And now I have one for lighter skin here, darker skin. So I'm going to select the mask on the darker skin layer. I'm going to grab a white brush. I'm going to go ahead and bring my flow up to 100. And let's bring my brush size down a little bit. I'm going to paint right over the subject's face like this. Alright, and now it's set at 26%. I'm going to go ahead and bring that opacity up until I get a brightness level that I like. There, that's looking pretty good right there. See, so we're just boosting those facial highlights. So again, all of our attention's going up to our subject here. Maybe I'll take the opacity down just a touch. There we go, that looks good to me. So there we go, you can see how easy it is to take this design and customize those colors and make something that looks really cool really quickly. So I hope you get a ton of use out of this, and I can't wait to see what you create. See you on the next one.